When you were a kid, were you ever ushered out of the room so that adults could have adult time? How many times have you heard, "Sorry, sweetie, this discussion is for adults only," or, "No, you can't talk about that in front of the kids"? You've probably heard it a lot. Kids are often ushered out of the room while adults have mature, social issue-based discussions. But why is that? Why can't kids hear about these topics in a safe way they will understand? Previous research on child development has shown that children are egocentric and do not yet have the cognitive abilities to grasp social-based issues. Yet current research within the last 2 decades has shown that previous research is just simply not true. Children do in fact have these capabilities and are not as egocentric as we like to believe. So why talk to kids about these issues? Well, for one, they're probably already aware of most of them. One author of a research article states that by the time children enter preschool, they're already aware of race and where they fit in within our society's racial hierarchy. And another article finds that children can identify differences in race by the time they're 6 months old. Yet another article talks about how children are already seeing LGBT issues, particularly transgender issues, portrayed in the media they consume. Looking at it this way, it logically makes sense to address these issues when kids are already aware of them. There's no point in protecting children from these issues when they've most likely encountered them in some shape or form. But why else? Well, by having these social issue-based discussions with children, we can encourage them to be aware and understand of the issues in the world around them, even if they are not directly affected by them. We can encourage empathy and understanding so that children will be slower to lash out in fear and hate and take more time to listen and learn. A child researcher notes that using children's books from a different part of the country or world can expose children to wider issues and help them to start thinking about different perspectives and points of views. We can not only encourage empathy and understanding by having these discussions, we can help children celebrate diversity within themselves and around them so that their self-esteem grows, they have confidence in their own identity, and they can uplift one another. So why hold back? Some parents, educators, and other adults don't always feel equipped to handle these discussions, and that is completely valid. It can be absolutely terrifying to talk about something you know little about or have no experience on. That's why adults should examine their own biases and prejudices first, to reflect on their own social shortcomings in order to help children not make the same mistakes they did. There are also a ton of resources out there. There is specific training that you can take online, articles and resources like the website Teaching Tolerance that gives parents, educators, and other adults ideas, ways of approaching these topics, videos to show and books to read, even past experiences of handling these discussions to read from and learn from. There are many ways to prepare for this kind of discussion. What happens if we don't have these discussions? Unfortunately, there are many negative consequences to either denying children these discussions or ignoring them completely. You run the risk of strengthening prejudices that our society has, and children who fall into the minority category, who sometimes see themselves negatively reflected in the world around them, can have low self-esteem, and ignorance and stereotypes surrounding social issues could be furthered, among other negative consequences. How do we begin these discussions? There are many possibilities. You can use everyday life examples, current events on the news, books, movies, or even cartoons or television shows to start these discussions. To build starting points that kids can talk about before they talk about the deeper issues is so very important. But remember, these examples are starting points. They're not substitutes. As long as there is a safe environment and an age-appropriate context to address these issues and have these discussions, children can begin to talk about the things that are usually put off until they're not kids anymore. So what? What's the importance of having social issue-based discussions with children? These discussions will further acceptance, understanding, and empathy of diversity within children's communities. They can help children develop high self-esteem and pride in their own identities. They can help end prejudices, learn from families, the media, or society as a whole, and they can help children learn to truly listen and understand to those who differ from them.